Wamama tupo. Wamama oye. Akina mama oye.
So we're bringing together a diverse group of women in the informal sector as domestic workers to celebrate their contribution to the country's economic growth, applaud their resilience in working in extremely difficult conditions, and highlight the importance of ILO Convention C-189 in the policy environment in the work that they do.
Statistically, out of 2 people you're going to speak to in this room, 1 of them has a direct relative or has an indirect relative. Wale distance, auntie wa auntie, okay? Ama auntie yako, ama wewe mwenyewe, ama mtoto wako, ama kazini yako who is a domestic worker.
So connecting that phrase to what we are discussing today about women economic empowerment, you'll realize that in the sector that we are talking about, informal sector and talking about domestic work, most persons that are employed in this sector are women, and they have the greatest responsibility to ensure that our economy as Kenya moves forward.
Convention 189 that came into force way back in 2011 is a framework, regulatory framework around issues to do with domestic work and their families, workers and their families. Let us not forget about their families. And the momentum, I like the momentum that has been set by organizations like Youth Alive, Oxfam, ZEHA, in support towards the ratification of this convention.
We are having the Women's Conference 2023 to rally allyship, friendship, association, and family push to ensure that domestic workers in Kenya are respected, dignified, and protected in policy and law.
As women, women domestic workers, tumekuwa tukilament for so many years. Na shida zetu zote tunajua.
Most of the domestic workers, from my observation, ni kwamba wengi wao wanafanya too much work that wakitoka huko, either most of them ni wagonjwa, wakitoka huko wanaenda nyumbani, either wanaenda kugonjeka kukufa, ama they have diseases that are very, hata kutibiwa ni shida. Na zile pesa zile walikuwa wanapata hata ziwezi watibu.
So I'm trying to think, ili sisi tufike hapa, wa mama wengi waliamka kitambo sana kutayarisha watoto, unpaid care, si ndio? Kwa hivyo umechapa kama 3-4 hours, si kweli? Alafu jioni utakuwa na masaa mengine 4 ya unpaid care, kutengeneza mtoto, kuosha sahani, all that. Alafu mchana umeshida ukilipwa pesa duni, si kweli? Ama how your work is not recognized. Hiyo ina add up to the other thing, mental health, si kweli?
What hiyo inachangia kwanza, you find most of the people who are doing unpaid care work, they are depressed, most of them. Most so those moms who are working at home. You're a full-time stay-at-home mom. What is going to happen to you when you're not paid? You have to work. Hiyo kazi yenye kwa nyumba ni mingi sana. Sana. I worked for 3.5 years and I'm telling you, I don't even miss to ever be a stay-at-home mom ever.
Hao wasichana wanafaa hata wao pia kuendanga wanasoma kidogo, hata kama ni hizo 2 weeks. Kwa sababu huyo msichana ukikuta ameharibu microwave yako, unaanza kumpigia makelele, ambayo sasa hapo ndio anaanza depression. Unakuta huyo msichana ametoka huko na mashida, na wewe unamuongezea mashida.
Ukiwa mwanamke, hata wewe uko na courage ya kusimama na huyo mtu. Asikutumie vibaya juu uko kwake. Uko hapo because of money. Na yeye amekuajiri ndio mchungie nini? Zile mali zake ziko pale na watoto. Akikutumia vibaya na wewe mwenyewe unyenyekee, imagine hapo ndio unapata ile kichapo tunachapo ya umbwa.
So we are calling on partnership, we are calling on solidarity to move the government to ratify this, to provide a more conducive policy framework for women and girls working in the informal sector. And this is the time. It has been 11 years, nothing has happened. Maybe we have to, when we join hands, we can make this thing happen.
But as it is right now, the largest, least unrecognized factor that limits women from engaging in social, economic, and political activities remains to be domestic work. So the domestic worker leaves their home, after doing unpaid care work, to go and invest approximately 12 hours in their day to do more work? When do we expect this group of people will take part in social, political, and economic activities?
Mi nimesikia vizuri juu kama serikali itaingilia hii kitu na iwe vile inatakikana, tupate freedom. Kama ni kuchapa hiyo denzi yako, uko na freedom, yani unajisikia wewe ni Mkenya. Wenyewe tunanyanyasika. Yes. Kwa hivyo vile Michelle amesema wakifanya hivyo wanawake tutanona.
So this conversation is on valuing women's work. And if we value women's work, we value women's time. If we have happy women, we will have more wholesome societies. If we free women's work within households, it means that we will be pushing for freeing of time for domestic workers as well.
What should the different stakeholders do to ensure speedy government action to ratify the C-189?
You see, since 2011 up to now, we have had about 3 regimes. We have had the regime of Kibaki, who was there in 2011. We had another 10 years of Uhuru, and now we have another one of Ruto that's currently going on. And this convention has not been ratified. Then let us ask ourselves, why has it not been ratified?
We attribute that to quite a number of reasons. Even as Kudeha, we've really pushed. We've done a lot of processions, quite a number of petitions. We've lobbied parliamentarians. The former women rep for Taita Taveta, Joyce Ley, had developed a bill on domestic workers. We tried to lobby for that in the parliament, but it wasn't adopted. Apparently, we don't know its status. It's unknown, yeah? Something that just communicates that a lot needs to be done.
Kenya tunaishi na maneno ya not ukabila but utamaduni sana. Maneno ya kazi za nyumbani, domestic work, ni kazi za kina mama na wasichana wadogo. So unapata mtoto ana grow up akijua kazi za nyumbani inafaa iko ya sistangu ama ya mam. But ule boy ana grow up kama deno anajua kazi za nyumbani. I've seen my father doing this. So hata mimi wakati nimeingia kwangu na nimeoa, kazi za nyumbani si place ambayo inafaa nikuwe.
The value of domestic work to Kenya right now is really, really recognized. The latest remittances from the Central Bank of Kenya figures from the Kingdom, the GCC, the Middle East countries, are now number. I think they have overtaken US and UK in terms of the remittances. And when you look at the bulk of the people who are working in the Middle East are domestic workers.
So kama wafanyikazi wangepata tu hiyo nafasi ya kupumzika. Pia si tuko na familia zetu, tunaweza penda kuziangalia kama vile unaangalia hii familia ya huyo mwajiri wako.
How do we get let's say the domestic workers to actually get exposure on matters of sexual harassment, like, you know, because some of them don't even know where the line is.
Let's normalize calling GBV what it is. If it's rape, it's rape. If it's defilement, it's defilement. If it's sexual exploitation, it's sexual exploitation. Let's not say kulala nae. That's where we lose it. And most of the time when you use that soft language, we don't really get to understand the severity of these rights abuses.
There's also been a lot of developments and efforts from the government. There's a domestic wages council that was dead many years ago that was also revived as part of efforts towards lobbying for the convention.
But also, I want to encourage you people. Most of these middle class people you're working for now have internet in their homes. Don't just stay on Facebook, go to YouTube and learn. You know? There are a lot of things. If you want something on Dobby, it's on YouTube. If you want something on cooking, it's on YouTube.
And the place of youth, I cannot stop by saying this. Let us reclaim back the kind of Kenya that we want. Kama wewe ni youth, you have like 40 years or 30 years ndani tu ya hii Kenya. Hata ukienda majuu utarudi tu Kenya. So make Kenya a better place for your children and your grandchildren.
Let us synergize all this effort. Let everyone come on board on this effort so that this country can ratify this C-189.
So this is a follow-up action to say we have started this petition. We're asking Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, and we are one other, the Honorable Florence Bore, who is the current Minister for Labor and Social Protection, to prioritize, because looks like there's a lot of things wanafanya. Sindo? Wako na kazi mingi, lakini sika domestic workers tunasema tafadhali, make some space to look at Convention 189.
This petition, I'm really hopeful that the government is going to ratify Convention 189. It's been a long while, since 2011, since the government adopted the convention. And domestic workers really need to feel that they are workers like any other workers, and that they are also recognized as working women in our society.
Serikali yetu tunataka watujengee mahali ya kusomesa domestic workers. Juu hata tunaona kuna adult learners wamewekewa hata walimu. Hata sisi wamama tuko na shida nyingi tujengewe. Bila masomo ndio tukienda hizo kazi za nyumba tunatumiwa vibaya. Sasa ukisoma mtu atajua kanuni ya kazi ni nini na terms and condition vile mtaelewana na yeye. Kwa kijiji kuna wamama wengi waliwacha COVID, waliwawacha bila mabwana, kuna watoto walishika mimba, kuna wamama wajane. Tunataka tusaidiwe.
We look forward to more organizations, CSOs and CBOs joining in the call, so that we can have a more unified voice towards calling on the government to ratify the document.
So for me, on behalf of my organization, Collaborative Center for Gender and Development, we are still championing for gender equality through the development of the unpaid care policy that we look forward to see the current National Assembly adopting it and the county to kind of domesticate it to suit their county-based unpaid care context.
What we aim to achieve is that first is that we're going to launch a petition, and we are calling on you to work with us to sign up this petition. This petition is going to go up on change.org, and the main aim of this petition is to gain as much currency and as much numbers to be able to draw support towards ratifying this convention.
Wamama tusilale, lale, lale. Kuna wanaume hawaimbi na nawaona. Mapambano, mapambano, bado mapambano, 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 bado